Hi, I'm Gwendolyn New, and this is my story. January 2021, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer. I was treated mostly through Ochsner at the Baptist facility uptown, and my oncologist is Dr. Jacob Estes. His whole nursing team and all were wonderful. Caroline Conway is a good friend of mine as well and a neighbor, so she was very important with my treatment and all of my recovery and my support. I would like to thank my family, my brothers, my mother, a lot of close friends and friends that are like family, as well as my neighbors, my school, job, and church community as well, for supporting me and just being there, helping me where I didn't even know I needed help. I actually learned a lot about myself. I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was, or didn't know if I could handle this. I definitely had good days and bad days. I got used to actually asking for help. That was hard since I'm very independent. I guess still processing the whole thing, but I feel like I've come a long way, ready to move on and kind of get back to normal. It's hard to give advice on an event like this because everyone is different. So I would just say don't hesitate to ask for help. That is definitely helpful. You feel the presence of people's prayers and thoughts and support. Just kind of believe in yourself, stay strong, trust your doctors, and don't hesitate to ask the questions and get the help you need.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Still I Rise podcast. I'm your host, Lisa McKenzie, founder of Unite Empowering Events. I am so honored to be here today with you as we introduce you to some amazing everyday heroes who will be sharing their inspiring stories of how they persevered after a life-altering event. The stories that we are sharing come from a unique narrative therapy program we created called Story Crafting. It's a small group 6-week experience that challenges participants to revisit a time in their life when life changed. Yes, you will hear about their hardships, but you will also hear how these amazing individuals persevered and found silver linings. Many of our participants are nervous to share, and they know they're being vulnerable with you, but they each said that they wanted to share because it's their hope that maybe their stories will inspire others and help somebody else persevere also. I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Debbie Tongi, who is our program director, and we can't wait for you to meet our story crafters. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this podcast with others. And welcome to today's story. Hi, everybody. Today I'm joined by Gwendolyn New. And Gwendolyn, you came into the Unite program in 2023, the beginning of this year. Actually, you started earlier, right? How did you find out about Unite?
I had many friends that had been part of Unite previously, as well as the Spark events, and so I started with Spark with Debbie, and we went, I guess, once a month, and those events just led me to, Ribbons Rock the Runway, and then to join the 2023 class.
And if I understand correctly, you are battling endometrial cancer?
Yes, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer in January 2021.
When you signed up for our program, you indicated that you were on a scale of 1 to 5, a 3. Explain how you felt then, and has that changed, improved, gotten worse? Like, how do you feel?
Obviously, the early part of my cancer diagnosis and treatment was very tough, and I definitely had improvement with friends' support and help, but definitely with Spark and being around other women going through similar things has been very supportive and helpful, and so I would definitely very happy today and enjoying continuing to be part of the process.
Would you still rate yourself a 3 out of 5?
I've definitely had improvement, so I don't know.
So you'd be a 4.
So, okay, so 4, yeah, getting towards 5, I guess, as I hope for my healing and continuing with my treatment. So.
Awesome. And so what has pushed you in that direction? What kind of things have you found that have helped you?
I guess just having the support of all the other women has been helpful, and seeing their challenges and knowing I'm not alone. And then just the encouragement everyone has given each other.
That's great, Gwendolyn. This is Deborah Tongi. I'm the program director at Unite. I was also honored to have Gwendolyn in my Spark workshops, and so I'm very happy to see her as part of the 2023 program. So far you have done SCART, you've done Spark, you've done SCART, and now you've just finished the story crafting portion of this program. And I want to ask you, first of all, one of the things that they ask in story crafting to prepare you to write the story is, what was the challenge that you wanted to write about?
So my challenge was my endometrial diagnosis, but I also included a little bit of my, prior to my diagnosis, my getting tested and trying to find out what was going on, because I had a lot of pain and a lot of things happening that caused issues, and I had to really push to get that diagnosis and those tests done.
Another part of the story crafting is that you have to come up with a metaphor for your your challenge and include that in your story. Can you tell us a little bit about what metaphor you chose?
The metaphor part was difficult for me. I'm also not a great writer, so that was a challenge. But my original vision was a little more of a negative thing of the endometrial cancer kind of living inside of me and being more like an alien. But as I started to think more of the whole process, and with the encouragement of my coach and others to come up with something a little more positive, I ended up thinking of my background. I'm not a musician, but in music, growing up and singing choirs, and the music part I ended up going with as I guess my life being a song, and different ways that can relate in music, and even pulled in specific songs in my story.
That's beautiful. And finally, one of I think the most interesting parts of story crafting is what is your megaphone? What is, if you could shout out to everybody, and we sometimes call it the elevator speech too, if you could tell anybody anything about what going through a cancer diagnosis means, what would you tell the world?
I think my metaphor changed a little throughout as well, but I started off where I just was kind of wanted to encourage people to really know their bodies and ask for help, because that was something I had to go through, and to not hesitate if you trust your gut if you aren't sure if something's right, to look for those answers. And then I guess later on I got a little more with the positive as well, as far as just sharing your love with the world, and just sharing your I don't remember the exact words, but
that's a message that we all need to hear.
Yes,
it's just find help
exactly,
and share your experience with the world. Well, without further ado, we have Gwendolyn New from the NOLA 2023 class, and she's going to be reading her story called My Mixed Tape.
Well, there's a bridge and there's a river that I still must cross as I am going on my journey. Oh, I might be lost. Step by Step by Whitney Houston. My journey started in July 2020 when I was experiencing extreme pain, and it was difficult to figure out what was happening. I had to see several doctors and press for answers and tests. Between the pain and the confusion of not knowing what was causing it was almost more stressful than hearing the actual diagnosis. Finally, after an endometrial tissue sample that was taken, which resulted in the most pain I think I have ever experienced in my life, found out that I had endometrial cancer. The pain was so bad that I felt like I was surrounded by the loud pounding drums, which were just banging with no beat, so I could barely think straight to drive home from the doctor. The drive home felt like several excruciating hours, even though it was only 15 minutes. The metaphor for my personal journey through my cancer battle is music and songs. Life is a song. We each write our own lyrics. The song of my life has had many high notes and low notes even before my diagnosis. My cancer diagnosis was a deep and sad song and seemed unbeatable. After 2 years, I am starting to sing a more mellow and slow song as I continue my treatment and wait for an end to the journey. I look forward to singing songs of joy in the future to celebrate my victory. My personal music connection is because music makes me happy, and I grew up singing in school choirs and my church choir. The music of my childhood was rather mellow and ordinary, like background music of a flute, soft and peaceful. Growing up in a majority Catholic city and going to Catholic school made me feel like I was already part of these wonderful traditions and helped me to continue to share and spread my love for others through my beliefs. Through this journey, I have been encouraging everyone to know and pay attention to their bodies and not to hesitate to push for answers and not to ignore your gut feelings. You can get through any difficult journey in your life by learning what you personally can handle physically, emotionally, and spiritually. There were several moments that sounded like da-na-na-na being played on the piano that were wake-up calls leading to my actual diagnosis. My first wake-up call was learning to advocate for myself, to get the tests that I needed to find out what was happening in my body. I felt very overwhelmed with emotions. I was experiencing a lot of physical pain and uncertainty. Spiritually, I didn't know what to do, and I was having trouble praying to God for help. The call from my gynecologist with the test results was the next wake-up call. I had been waiting for almost 3 weeks for the test results. He told me that I had cancer, but I didn't remember much more about that conversation because I was in shock and disbelief. During those hours of my life, it was like the music had stopped and there was silence all around. This was the start of many doctor visits. Then a trumpet played a revelry, which was my miracle when I heard from many people that Dr. Jacob Estes was one of the best doctors in the city for oncology gynecology. My first visit to Dr. Estes, a close friend of both of ours, attended the appointment with me as moral support. My wake-up call, which was the actual call from the oncologist telling me that the endometrial cancer had spread to my liver and we were going to change the plan of action for my treatment before we even started. I had a full hysterectomy, which got rid of most of the cancer. I had recently been going through the mental state of accepting that I might never have children of my own when my diagnosis led to my hysterectomy. I tore the page out of my music book on the possibility of having my own biological children. This was all so hard for me because I had imagined being a mother at an early age because of my love for children and experiencing working with children. I used to think I could not go on and life was nothing but an awful song. If I can see it then, I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I have a personal connection to the song I Believe I Can Fly by R. Kelly because it was sung by Irma Thomas at my graduation from Delgado Community College in May 2001. I know that the feeling of the cancer coming back someday will never go away, but having the freedom from the cancer will help free my mind for a while. I felt very overwhelmed with emotions. I was experiencing a lot of physical pain and uncertainty. I don't know why I was feeling this way, but I was confused and just didn't know where and who to turn to help me understand this challenge in my life. I have felt helpless before when trying to help others, but this was like hearing a record skip on the player when it is finished playing. It took me a long time to see a guiding light or motivation to help me look forward and think positively about my cancer. Like the song Both Sides Now from Joni Mitchell, we win and lose, we give and take, we laugh and cry, and sometimes clouds get in the way, and we really don't know life at all. There were days I felt good and could go out to lunch with friends, which helped me to feel normal and get my mind off of being sick. Laughter was the best medicine during these times. The song Bridge Over Troubled Water comes to mind when I think of this part of my journey. When things get tough, your friends are there to ease your mind. I joined the Unite Sisterhood group and reconnected with many old friends and made many new friends as well. This was an important part of me feeling a reason to be more involved in the outside world while I was still going through my treatments. My favorite activity through the Unite was the SCART, art created using a visual of your scar. I have always enjoyed doing various types of art. I was thinking about the symbolism of a rose and the song, Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. There is beauty in the rose and the bloom itself as a new beginning, but there is hurt, pain, then scars left behind. I am becoming a new person because all of that I have learned through my cancer journey. The red rose is a symbol of love. My words of wisdom are to be patient with your journey and the process of healing, and know your body and ask for help. You will survive, like the song by Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. At first I was afraid, I was petrified. I grew strong and I learned to get along. Okay. It took all my strength I had not to fall apart. I used to cry, but now I hold my head up high. Oh no, not I will survive. I've got all my life to live, and I've got all my love to give. Although this song is about a relationship, most of the words are extremely relevant to my relationship with my cancer fight. So I would also like to thank Dr. Jacob Estes, my oncologist, Dr. Michael Wiedemann, my gynecologist, who helped me figure out my diagnosis, Dr. Kieran Zaveri, my primary care physician, Caroline Conway, which is also one of the nurses and also one of my neighbors, and she and her husband have been very helpful and supportive. My Ochsner infusion team, the surgery team at Ochsner, all the teams helping with my scans, my lab tests, and the home nurses. I also would like to thank my mother, Molly and Steve Zarang, JP and Rebecca, Nick and Tanya, Steve Jones, Tanya Smith, Cheryl Perez and family, Rhodey Rodriguez, Donna and Chelsea, Liz and Jimmy, Mary Stafford, my St. Pius coworkers and the school and church community, Cami Grau, Mary Rodolfo, Sherry Heller, Debbie Tongas, Angela Becknell, Lisa, and all of the Unite Sisters.
Well, Gwendolyn, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and that we appreciate you being vulnerable and opening up to not only to us as a group, but to the community at large who hears your story and is inspired of everything you've gone through, that they can survive, they can make it. So thank you so much. We appreciate you spending time today.
Thank you, and I hope this can be helpful to others. I guess that's something else I've learned through this journey is to try to help others and try to encourage them to join a community or find help where they can.
Well, you've been a bright light to us, and I know you're going to be a bright light to many. Thank you so much.
Thank you.